Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. Yes, we back at it again. We back with Taylor Schabusiness. Well, today we're just going to be watching some clips of day 2 of the trial. It was insane. It was insane. All right, so we're going to watch a couple of clips, maybe about 2 or 3 clips. Of course, we're not going to watch the whole trial. All right, so the first clip we're going to be watching. All right, let's get into this clip here. Okay, if I'm correct, this is the detective that was on the stand. Let's hear what this detective has to say. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure what you do is you hit the like button, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. All right, share your thoughts, and also share it on your social media. All right, so let's get into day 2 clips of Taylor Schabusiness. Let's get it.
Exhibit 79 is a copy of my autopsy notes and diagrams that I generated on this case. It includes head and neck diagrams. It includes diagrams of the entire body and diagrams of the skeletal system as well.
Your Honor, I would move for admission of Exhibit 79 and ask for permission to publish the diagrams.
Any objection?
No.
All right, that can be published to the jury. I'll receive it, and it can be published to the jury.
And Judge, for the diagrams and the subsequent discussion, could the lights be dimmed as well?
Sure.
Dr. Tranquita, is the screen now displaying?
Oops, I forgot. When you usually do recaps over here, we do on a faster speed. So the speed is going to be on 1.25. If it's too fast for you, what you can do is you can slow it down on your end. Just hit the setting, whatever's comfortable for you. Just press the setting. You want it faster, slower, or whatever. But it's on 1.25 right now. Let's get it.
What would be the first page of Exhibit 79?
Yes, it does.
And could you note what's of importance from your medical perspective as to these diagrams?
Of course. This is the front page of what's referred to as my autopsy notes. And this allows me a front and back view of the body to depict findings. Also, a spot at the top where I can enter the general demographic features, in other words, weight of the body as it's recovered, approximated age, frame, hair color, eye color, what's the state of the postmortem changes, such as rigor mortis or livor mortis. And then with the front and back diagrams, I'm able to show sort of general findings. In this case, because there were so many sharp force injuries and injuries of the head and neck, I saved them for separate diagrams. And this is more for general findings. The most relevant ones that I want to kind of emphasize on is there is marked congestion of the head and neck, but the rest of the body is relatively pale. There were some contusions or blunt force trauma injuries of the remainder of the body. There was a contusion on the upper aspect of the left side of the chest, a contusion on the upper aspect of the right side of the chest. There were abrasions of the right upper extremity. There was a contusion or bruise of the anterior aspect of the right knee, and there was a collapsed blister on the left heel. He also had a gray metal ring that was present on the little finger of the left hand.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be at your computer.
Doctor, on the screen, are we now showing page 2 of Exhibit 79?
Yes, we are.
And specifically, I draw your attention to the top right-hand corner of that. There's a depiction or a drawing. What is that?
In the top right-hand drawing is a depiction of the surface of the decedent's tongue. With my crude art skills, I apologize. But I'm depicting where the arc-like abrasions are present on the tongue, and that's at the tip, those curvilinear interrupted abrasions. There was a contusion of the right side of the tip of the tongue, or bruise. And then on the back and middle aspect of the right side of the tongue, there were 2 parallel, very patterned, very regular indentation rows consistent with a potential ligature being pressed against the neck. Being pressed against the tongue.
Doctor, based on your prior experience with strangulation cases, is that something that is typically seen or ordinarily seen where there's a potential ligature strangulation that you may see ligature marks not only on the neck but also on other parts of the body?
Yes, it occurs when the ligature shifts during the assault. If the ligature shifts, often the victim or the decedent will try to get their chin underneath the ligature. I can sometimes see injuries across the chin, across the lower lip, or inside the mouth as the ligature is shifting in position before it's placed again on the neck.
Doctor, you mentioned that you were present on scene and had the opportunity to observe two metal dog chains that were collected by law enforcement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you note any consistency between those chains that were collected and the marks that you observed on Shad Thyrion's body?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
When I'm observing injuries or trying to interpret injuries, I'm looking for patterns. Anything that I can use to convey to an investigator, hey, you may want to look for this at the scene. In this case, we had very organized, repeating, interrupted indentations on the surface of the tongue, very evenly spaced apart. This would not be inconsistent with the pattern of a chain and the chain links as they twist, leaving separate corner impressions on the surface of the tongue.
Doctor, does the screen now depict the third page of Exhibit 79?
Yes, it does.
And could you describe for the jury the significance of these particular diagrams?
Because there were so many findings, I separated out the head and neck diagrams to a separate diagram. This diagram depicts multiple different views of the decedent's head and neck. Similar to the photograph, we can see that there is congestion of the head above the level of decapitation. In other words, there's purplish discoloration or cyanosis or plethory of the upper aspect of the neck and head, consistent with congestion. On the right side of the decedent's face and nose is an abrasion. There are contusions at the left temple, just above the ear, and at the right temple, just above the ear as well, or bruises. Once I dissected down the neck, I found hemorrhages of the muscles of the neck on the left side and right side of the neck. I also found sharp force injuries of the outer aspect of the left eyebrow and outer aspect of the left upper eyelid, and then also on the left side of the tip of the nose. I believe that these are also post-mortem artifact because they're non-hemorrhagic, there's no redness, there's no swelling. This is consistent with cutting a body that's already been dead. Across the neck, I am depicting the point of decapitation of the decedent. This was roughly at the level of cervical vertebra C5, C6. We have about 7 cervical vertebrae, so it's just above the base of the neck, where we have complete decapitation. In other words, it's going completely through the neck, and the head is separate from the remainder of the body. There are also a number of sharp force injuries above and below the level of decapitation, consistent with multiple cuts attempted as the person is trying to get through the neck.
Now, Doctor, does the screen show what is page 4 of Exhibit 79?
Yes, it does.
I don't think I will ask you to describe every injury that's denoted on this particular diagram, as we would be here a while, but could you describe generally what is depicted in this diagram?
Of course. This is a front and back view of the decedent's body, where I'm attempting to show the points of dismemberment, as well as points of sharp force injury that are present. The contusions I've also included here to try to show where they are, or bruises and abrasions, but for the most part I want to focus on the sharp force trauma. In particular, in this case, we have the head has been decapitated at the level of the lower neck.
Why don't you invest in tax liens? This is
The back has been largely flayed and defleshed. In other words, the skin of the back has been removed. Also, the muscles of the back have been removed so that we have exposed rib cage and spine. The torso, so extending from about the neck to the groin, has been bisected or cut in half at the level of the lumbar vertebra or the vertebra of the lower spine, so that we have access to the inside of the torso, both the pelvis and the upper aspect of the chest and abdomen. We have attempted amputations at the level of the right shoulder and right elbow. We have numerous cuts and stab wounds of the extremities. When we get to the abdomen and thighs, we have areas of skin removal where flaps of skin have been removed. Where we get to the right thigh, all the soft tissue has been removed, so we're down to the bone. In other words, all we have is exposed femur for the length of the femur. When we get to the lower extremities, the left lower extremity has been amputated to the level of the knee. The kneecap or patella was recovered separately. We have another amputation from the knee to the level of the ankle, and the left foot was recovered from within the left chest cavity, placed within there. At the right lower extremity, we have, again, the femur, which has been largely defleshed, but I was able to reapproximate the pieces of muscle and pieces of skin to recreate what was there. And then we had the right knee to the right foot still intact.
Doctor, based on your training and experience, what kind of amount of time would be necessary in order to create this sort of disruption to a body?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
Foundation.
Overruled.
It is my medical opinion that this would be quite a few hours. We have decapitation, we have dismemberment, we have transection of the torso. Subsequently, internally, the body has been eviscerated. In other words, we have entered inside the body through various cuts, both at the abdomen and between the ribs, where the victim's organs have been removed, largely one by one. We have castration of the decedent. The decedent has been castrated as well. We have cutting or sawing through chop mark injuries of the bones. It is my medical opinion that this would have taken quite a great deal of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear this? She hacked and saw up his whole body. She just took everything. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time. Okay, we're going to go to another clip, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to the music while you wait. And we're going to get into the next one. Okay, now we're going to get into this next clip here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now this clip here we can watch here. This one here is the body cam. Body cam, you know we love body cams over here. All right, let's get into this clip, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit the like if you're coming in. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And to the people that, respond to my posts, I'm so sorry starting late. But when you're at the gym and you feel like you could do an extra mile or two, you don't need to stop. Just keep it going. So I didn't do that. All right, let's get it. Now this body cam, I have it on regular speed. Regular speed.
Please no body, please no. Nothing. Hey. Is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Bloody footprint? You see this right here?
Could possibly be blood.
Hey, who did that? Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department.
I was stuck making $70,000 a year, and I was straight commission.
Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. With Taylor. Taylor, you have one more for your, wrist. Just put your hands behind your back, quick.
Anybody else in your apartment?
You got it. Blood on your hands here, blood on. No, on your hands.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to.
What apartment are you in? Do we have Adam 3 come up?
He cuts me in, get up here.
On the double.
Which apartment?
One is what they came back to. Yeah, go. Guys, hurry and get here now. Watch this window right here. Gun. Go in here. Come to the back of the apartments. That's where we are. You come over here. 2 more will be fine. If 84 is here, you have contact with the mail.
Hands up! Walk out towards me!
Have a seat.
Have a seat. Out towards me! Get out of the house!
Who else is in the apartment? Be straight up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the body cam after she, cut up the boyfriend and everything. Ooh, 2 dozen of them. Ooh, Lord, I know those are so good. Ooh, that's so yummy. Now, this is after she, cut up her boyfriend. You just heard the way she cut him up, right? Her lover. And she's like, it's nothing. This is insane. You gonna tell me this woman's not insane? All right, we on day 2. And ladies and gentlemen, I still think that she's crazy. I don't think that she's making this up. But hey, I might change my mind. We will see. Let's resume.
Who else is in the apartment? Be straight up. Tomes? Who else? Just Tomes? Is he armed? Nobody's armed?
Nobody's armed.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Bring up police! Everybody get here! Announce yourself now!
Go ahead. Negative, we got enough here.
Okay, and for the record, 4 minutes of that exhibit, actually the entirety of that exhibit was played into the record. Officer, having reviewed that video, do you recognize the video that was depicted?
Yes.
Was that consistent with the body camera worn footage that you were wearing on February 23rd?
Yes.
I'd move Exhibit 81.
Any objection?
No.
Received. So I want to ask just a few questions then, Officer. There's an earlier part in the clip where you had noted some area of suspected blood. Is that right?
That's right.
And what do you recall observing?
It looked like a couple of drops of blood in front of the vehicle, along with a footprint that was within, or that encompassed one of the drops.
And I guess was that pointed out to other officers who were on scene?
Yes.
You mentioned then the lights of the vehicle were activated and sort of flash. Is that right?
Yes.
And then about 10 seconds later, Ms. Schabusiness exited the apartment?
Yes.
At the end of the video, where were you walking Ms. Schabusiness to?
I was walking her to my patrol car.
And was she, I guess, put in the back of the squad car?
Yes, she was.
Was there any further questioning or anything done at that point?
The only question I asked Ms. Schabusiness was if she knew why we were there.
Okay. And then did you ultimately just transport her then to the Green Bay Police Department?
Yes.
When you got to the Green Bay Police Department, what further steps did you take?
We placed her in interview room 3, I believe, where I had Officer Kenny assist me with taking photographs of what looked like smeared blood on her hands and on her clothing. I also had her remove the sweatshirt that had what appeared to be blood on it, as well as her socks and her shoes.
And then was another officer requested to assist with the further removal of some clothing?
I believe after
I left the room, there was another officer that might have been asked to assist with removal of some additional clothing so that Ms. Schabusiness could get temporary clothing because we wanted all her clothes as evidence.
The clothing items that you took, did those stay within your custody and control?
Yes,
And did you subsequently enter them into evidence at the Green Bay Police Department?
I did.
I guess in totality, on February 23rd, in your interactions with Ms. Schabusiness, did you ask sometimes some questions of her?
I didn't ask questions of her. I more like commands like, hey, please remove your jacket, please remove your hat. Let me get your shoes, sit here, just commands, not really questions.
The commands that, or requests that you were getting Ms. Schabusiness, was she in that time following those?
Yes, she was.
Was she, in some instances, responding appropriately?
Yes, she was.
In the context of your questions and commands?
Yes, she was.
For instance, did you ask, if there was anyone else in the residence at that point?
I did ask her.
Did she provide a response?
She did.
And was there a person located in the apartment?
Yes, there was.
Thank you, officer. I have nothing further.
Cross-examination, Mr. Freilich.
Thank you. Officer Russell, good morning.
Good morning.
So you were asked to go directly to 2353 Eastman Avenue on February 23rd of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Who asked you to go over there?
I was dispatcher and Sergeant Bresser also instructed me to go there.
Sergeant Brester?
Yes.
Okay, did you go by yourself?
Several other officers were sent to the location.
And what was the purpose of you going over there?
The purpose of me going over there was to relieve deputies that were on scene, along with assist with the overall incident.
Were you going over there to look at a vehicle or talk to people or what, do you know?
I was tasked, me and other officers were tasked with locating a person who was last seen with the victim, as well as looking at the vehicle as I described earlier.
Okay, so you were asked to go and see if you could make contact with Taylor Schabusiness?
Correct.
Have you been involved in
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next clip. All right, what's this next clip that we have here? Give me a second while I set up and then I'll let you know. Okay, this clip here it says, Taylor Schabusiness, this is all, we just focus on day 2. Taylor Schabusiness, detective details finding severed head, genitals, meth at crime. She hacked up this person's body. And what did you say, 603? Only a sane person can do what she did. You gotta be out your mind. Alright? Totally. Now, Melanie, you said something. You said, Don, just reveal, do you remember when this all first started? She was on work release, but didn't go back in that evening. I think that was what the warrant was that they arrested her for. So you saying that body cam was for that? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. All right, let's get into this next clip, ladies and gentlemen. Speed 1.25. Let's get it.
just to check it out?
I did.
And did you look at the bucket?
I did.
When you got down there, were you in the PPE gear?
The very first time I got there was not. There's the uniformed officers there that weren't in it. There was some question about whether the body was there and why it had not been found yet. It's a question about how well we looked for it. So we did do a quick look through and they came back up. Yes, without it.
When you, Detective Scanlon, when you went down the stairs, did you see a towel over the bucket
By the time I got there, it was already removed and off the side.
laying on the floor?
Yes,
You looked in the bucket, obviously?
I did.
Did you move the contents of the
No.
bucket? Okay. Were there other items in the bucket later on that you found out about, correct?
There were.
What other items were in the bucket?
There was remains, 2 different specific types of remains that I observed.
Okay.
There was a human head. There was genitalia in the bucket.
Let me stop you there.
What do you mean genitalia?
What I would recognize as a penis and testicles.
And were they laying underneath the head?
They were visible after the head was removed, yes.
What else did you see?
I observed a black Miracle 3 kitchen blade knife that was removed. Kitchen knife. I observed a yellow pocket knife, I guess for best description of the pocket knife with a yellow handle. There was like a head of a razor, like a shaving razor blade, a nail, Jolly Rancher, and there was a flesh material that the doctor just described as a flesh material.
Blood in the bucket as well?
There was blood in the bucket, yes.
This is all in that black bucket, correct?
The black Fleet Farm bucket, yes, container 1.
What did you do next then after you fully investigated the contents of the bucket?
So we referred to 4 containers in the home, and as just a matter of staying organized with the recovery, we went from left to right when looking at the basement. So we moved to container 2, which was the blue Jimmy Choo bag. And then Dr. Trankaita set it down on a blanket, sterile blanket that he had brought, and then he started to remove the contents of it in front of us to observe.
Fair to say that all of you were going through this together as far as looking around and investigating certain things?
Yes, we're all together at this time, yes.
And in the meantime, was Taylor Schabusiness over at the police department with Detective Groff and Detective Kempf?
She was.
And were you communicating with Detective Kempf by phone? Or
I
text?
don't remember which one I spoke to. I was getting phone contact from one of the 2 of them.
So information was going back between officers, correct?
Yes.
And the focus of your investigation was the basement of Stony Brook, is that fair?
The basement, and then, as we found the knives, I went upstairs and tried to identify whether or not those knives had come from the kitchen. So I did travel back upstairs to take a look at the knife block, and then I looked in the drawers to see if they had similar knives to the Miracle, the black handle knife in the bucket. So I did go upstairs to look at that.
How
At
many?
some point.
There were 2 knives in the bucket?
There was 2 knives in the bucket, the black handled kitchen knife. So I think it was a Miracle Blade 3 was the stamp. And then there was a yellow, like a pocket knife, the yellow handled pocket knife.
And when you went upstairs, you didn't see any other yellow handled pocket knives, correct?
No, I've seen other Miracle Blade 3 knives. There was one on the butter dish, and there was similar knives to that in the drawer. But I don't know the source or where the yellow knife was from.
And while all this was going on, the forensic specialists, Andre and Charneski, were taking pictures, correct?
Yes.
Did you find any evidence of drug use down in that basement?
I did.
What did you find down there?
There was a methamphetamine pipe, or what I recognized to be a methamphetamine pipe on the entertainment center, and there was a green gem baggie with a crystal substance that I later checked out more thoroughly.
Observed, where was it?
It was on the entertainment center. I have a makeshift dresser to the left of the bed.
And did you find drugs?
There was what I believe to be drugs, yes, next to it in the gem baggie.
Okay. When you say gem baggie, is that a plastic bag?
Yeah, a little small, like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch green baggie.
Do you know what was in the gem baggie?
I later field tested it for methamphetamine. I believe it was crystal methamphetamine.
And where was that?
That was to the right of the meth pipe.
Did you find any marijuana?
I did not know.
Did you find any packaging for marijuana?
I did not know.
Could I approach your arm?
You may.
I'll show you this mark as exhibits 70, 71, 72. Exhibit 70, do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
That's the entertainment center. That picture depicts the methamphetamine pipe. Next to it's the green gem bag I referred to, and some other items with some placards that our forensic specialists put down photograph.
Is there any packaging from a company called Loom in Iron Mountain in that picture?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is there any packaging from a company called Loom, L-U-M-E, in that photo?
I don't see it.
Okay. This picture, Exhibit 70, does it depict that entertainment center in the basement of Stony Brook Lane?
Yes,
Was that picture taken on or about February 23rd of 2022?
it was.
Okay. Exhibit 71, could you identify that?
That it just appears to be the same area, but a close-up of the green gem bag and the watch in front of it.
That gem bag later turned out to be methamphetamine, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Did some of it spill out on the entertainment center?
Looking at this close-up photo, there are white specks on the entertainment center. I don't know if that's that. I didn't use a narcotic wipe to see that. No, I don't know.
Okay. Does that picture show that entertainment center and contents on that item from Stony Brook Lane on February 23rd?
Yes.
Okay. Could you turn your attention to Exhibit 72? Can you identify what that is?
It's the same area. It's a close-up of the gem bag.
Is that the gem bag that was on top of the entertainment center on Stony Brook Lane in the basement?
It appears to be, yes.
You had a chance to take a good look at
Yeah.
that, correct? Okay. I'll offer Exhibit 70, 71, 72.
The objection? No.
Those be received. When you did your search of the basement, did you find anybody else in the basement?
Other than the
people
remains,
down
other than the remains of Mr. Thyrion, no.
Did you canvass the area and make contact with neighbors?
I did.
Why did you do that?
I had some time while waiting for the doctor to arrive, waiting for the warrant to get done. So rather than stand there, I decided to do a standard neighborhood canvass, to talk to some neighbors, to see if any of the neighbors were up last night or had observed anything that would be relevant to the investigation.
Did you get any information that was relevant?
I did.
What?
I did.
You did? What did you get?
I talked to some neighbors across the street who told me things that they've seen. I documented the information and went to the next house.
Okay, we got another clip. All right, so give me a second while I set it up. I think we have, two more clips. We're gonna keep this under an hour. All right, let's listen to the music while you wait. Okay. I was watching, this was kind of interesting, prosecution, who they had for a witness. And he says he don't really remember things too well. Okay, now this is one of the witness that the prosecution had. And the title is Chopping It Up. Taylor Business Laughs Through Friends' Odd Testimony in Behead, whatever. Okay, let's see this part.
Can I speak right now?
Yes.
My name is Alexander Gannon.
Okay, the witness is yours, Mr. Saunders.
So I introduced you as AJ. Is that a preferred nickname you go by?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but your proper name is Alexander.
Yes.
Okay. So is it okay if I call you AJ?
That's fine.
All right. So AJ, how old are you?
25.
Do you live in the Green Bay area?
Yes.
Did you grow up here as well?
Yes.
Did you go to high school and middle school here?
Yes.
AJ, do you know somebody by the name of Shad Thyrion?
Yes.
And how do you know Shad?
I've known him since middle school.
And what middle school did you go to school with him at?
I think I saw him before a couple times in like intermediate, but we mainly ran up at Bayview.
Okay. Bayview Middle School?
Yeah.
Okay. And throughout, schooling, and I guess now you're an adult, did you keep in touch with Shad?
Well, after about maybe it was the first year I moved into my apartment.
And I want to say thank you for everybody for being here. I don't want nobody to think I'm being rude, not greeting, but I want to get through these clips. But I see you here, and I appreciate it. I see, because we were supposed to do this earlier, but I was so busy at the gym. All right, let's get it.
Was when I started really connecting with a lot of people from that Agrarian tour I've talked with, and Chad was one of them.
Okay. So there's a reacquainting period, I guess?
Yes.
All right. AJ, do you also know somebody named Taylor Coronado or Schabusiness?
Yes.
And how do you know her?
Since middle school.
Similar to Shad?
Yes.
Did you remain kind of friendly with Taylor as well?
Yes.
Sorry, is that a yes?
Yes.
Sorry. So AJ, I want to ask you about February 21st of 2022. It was a Monday. Do you recall the date I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know when like this happened, but I don't know.
Sure. So do you recall a day where you were, I guess, hanging out with
Oh,
Shad and Taylor?
Okay, I didn't. You were saying like the date, but I didn't.
Sure.
I didn't have context. So.
Sure. So I want to ask you then, let's get this way. At some point, did you become aware that Shad had passed away?
It was only after when the day before I was heading out to vacation to see my parents,
Okay.
my dad specifically.
All right. And was that in February of 22?
No, it was like a week after. So it was in February. No, I had vacation in June, but I don't remember. I'm sorry. I have like a lot of like mental problems.
Sure.
So it's like hard to like keep a constant catalog of memories.
Sure. So are you referring to when you learned that Shad had passed?
All I knew was it was like a week. It was a week after, like something like that. I don't know for sure. All I knew was basically the day after, a couple days after, I was going to the Eastman apartment buildings because that's where I knew Taylor was at the time. And ironically, the same day that I went there, the police were knocking on my door specifically to try and get into reach for me with the situation. And the only thing that I knew at the time was basically they asked if I knew the whereabouts of Shad and Taylor. So like that's like the closest thing I can remember. It's just
Sure. And I know we're talking about something a long time ago, and dates may be a little fuzzy. Is that fair?
yeah, it's just when you don't.
So that time you were talking about where law enforcement was asking you some questions, you remember telling them about a time you were hanging out with Shad and Taylor?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I was drinking a little bit belligerently.
Honestly, and Deb, you are absolutely right. Horrible witness. Wow. They was, prosecution was doing well, but where did this come from? But oh well. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But, yeah, I don't even know what he was basically saying. So good luck. Maybe y'all can help me with this. I don't know, Melanie, but I assume so. It seemed like that's all they did was just get high, doing meth, and doing drugs. See, this is what happens when you do drugs, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's resume.
So it's the only time that I looked at like the clock was like before I left my apartment. So it was like after 10:30, 10 around that time frame. And like basically it was like I just decided to stop dissociating a lot, and I felt bad for not talking to a whole lot of friends that I used to talk to, like Taylor and Shad. So I just hit up Taylor randomly. I was like, hey, like, what's up? You going to hang out? And then basically I went over to the apartments, and when I got there, we were just chilling, chopping it up, like how we always do. And basically, I was like, Taylor was asking like, do you wanna hang out with Shad? She was asking me like for consent to hang out with Shad, to bring him over, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, it's cool. And so,
could I stop you right there? I'm sorry. I just have a quick question. So when you said you were at the apartment, which apartment is this?
the Meadowview East apartments.
Okay. Is that kind of where you thought?
I agree with you, Melanie. This is why in the dating scene, ladies and gentlemen, find out who their friends are. You'll learn a lot about who you're dating. It's the friends that they keep. Yep. That they call, this is my bestie. This is my boy. Yep, you learn a lot. Reason.
Taylor was staying, or whose apartment was it?
It was It was the same apartments that I lived there. So it was like I'm sorry, what?
So I'm sorry, what? What he says, I have no idea why they called this guy. Maybe that's why Taylor Schabusiness is laughing. Where they pull him from? Okie dokie now. Let's get back to it. I might not show this whole thing. I don't know. We'll just see. Because I have another clip. So we might just watch some of this one. Alright, let's get it.
Sure, so the apartment is on Eastman that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I interrupted. You were with Taylor, and then she brought up hanging out with Shad?
Yeah.
Did you meet up with Shad that night?
Yes, I did.
And where were you sort of hanging out with Shad then?
We picked them up, went back to the apartment, and was just chopping it up.
Is that the same apartment you were just talking about?
Yes.
All right. And I date myself. Chopping it up, what does that mean?
Oh, it's just like kicking it, talking about whatever, just small talk or anything. Just kind of having conversation.
Is it a pretty good, chill atmosphere?
Yeah, it was a good vibe.
No major, issues or anything that stick out to you?
I never saw one thing that night.
Kind of Shad was acting normal?
Yes, he was.
Taylor was acting normal?
Yes.
And you said this was about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night?
This was when I went to the apartment, like around that time frame.
And this is still the apartment on Eastman?
Yes.
Okay, and then at some point, do you leave that apartment?
I left. I did leave. I left probably like at least maybe like a couple hours, maybe until like 1, 2 in the morning. I don't know for sure. It's like I said, I only looked at the time before I left the apartment, and I was a little drunk. So.
Okay. But at some point, you left the apartment. Were Shad and Taylor still at the apartment when you left?
From when I saw it, I don't know, but that's what, yes, from when I saw it.
And then after that point, had you ever seen Shad again?
What?
After that point, after you left that apartment, had you ever seen Shad again?
No. Ironically, I hit him up the day after, or like a couple days, like the first week into the situation, and I call him. I message him about a song that he posted on his Facebook, which was like some rap song that I liked, and I was like, yeah. I just like randomly sent him a message that day. I was like, yeah, it's dope. And then I was like feeling a little, when I don't have people talking to me a whole lot, I get a little anxious. And then I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm a little concerned immediately.
Okay.
But like I didn't realize until after my friend mentioned to me specifically about what happened.
And I'm sorry, I'm jumping around in here. I want to go back to when it was you and Taylor, and you went to go pick up Shad. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you pick up Shad?
Me?
How did you and Taylor go and pick him up?
Okay. Well, we took a minivan.
Who drove?
Taylor.
Do you know whose minivan that was?
No.
Okay. Was it a minivan that was at that apartment that you were at?
Yes.
And you went to Shad's house to pick him up?
Yes.
Thank you, AJ. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Furley, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Mr. Gannon, good afternoon. You knew Taylor and Shad since middle school?
Yes.
So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is an all-in-one product.
You went to school at Bayview Middle School? Yes?
Yes.
And then did you go to high school together as well?
A little bit until the freshman year.
Okay. Did you go?
I went to 3 different high schools in my freshman year.
Okay.
So it's bouncing a lot.
That's okay. Did you go to high school with Taylor Schabusiness
Yes.
at Bayport?
Yes.
And you kind of knew her pretty well, correct?
Yes. Enough to associate with her.
You were friends with her?
Yeah, to associate and be friends with, yes.
And was it your understanding that at least in high school, Shad Thyrion and Taylor Schabusiness kind of were boyfriend and girlfriend? They dated a little bit?
Yes. I don't know how the connection between them, but it seemed like at the time after the breakup with Corey, it seems like that's like the only person that she always showed sometimes. That's like whenever I see Shad, more times over, especially when he's like chilling, I see Taylor or a couple other friends in that circle in there.
Okay.
They were pretty cool people.
Sure. Did you sometimes go over to Shad Thyrion's mother's house, Tara Pakinich on Stony Brook Lane?
Yeah, the year that I moved out, I visited a couple times, at least a handful of times.
Okay. Would you go over there to maybe eat or play video games and watch TV?
We wouldn't do a whole lot, but I just came. Typically, I was like the runt that would just be chilling with the whole pack, basically, of dogs that we're chilling with. You know what I'm saying? So
You just kind of hang out with the group?
yeah, just hanging out with the group.
Okay. All right.
So.
Okay. Would you sometimes go over to Shad's father's house, Michael Thyrion's house?
Yes.
Okay. And was it such that Shad Thyrion, he lived with his father, Michael Thyrion?
At the time that I heard of, yes.
So you had been to Shad's father's house and Shad's mother's house, correct?
Yes.
And fair to say that you'd been over to the apartment on Eastman Avenue where Taylor Schabusiness was living, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And sir, you'd go over to that residence to kind of chill or hang out, listen to music, watch TV, whatever, correct?
Yeah.
You had Taylor's phone number?
I had her Facebook.
Okay. And as far as Shad Thyrion, you had his phone number or Facebook information?
Yeah, I had his Facebook at the time too.
Fair to say that all three of you
They probably was like, he ain't getting my home number, my cell phone number. This is contact only on Facebook. I should laugh. This is not right. But he is out there. See? Leave these drugs alone. Alone. Leave them alone. Resume.
yourself, Mr. Gannon, Taylor Schabusiness, and Shad Thyrion, you all had each other's contact information, correct?
Yes, but after a rough act with a friend, I was chilling. I just started dissociating, and I do that a lot for the past 10, 20 years. I feel like people don't. If there's a sort of discrepancy, I just cut you off. It's block you or whatever, and then that's the reason why the day before that situation with the murder, I hate Taylor because I just wanted to associate again.
Okay. Now, Taylor Schabusiness has a father. Do you know her dad?
Yes.
Okay. His name is Arturo Coronado. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had you been over to Arturo Coronado's house?
Yes.
And was that with Taylor?
This was maybe there's been very few times since I personally talked to Art, so.
Okay. But had you been over to Art's house with Taylor in the past?
Yes, I have.
So you kind of knew Taylor pretty well, fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And you knew Shad very well, correct?
Yeah.
Was it such that there were times when maybe you'd be hanging out with Taylor and Shad where they would be using marijuana together?
Yes,
Wait.
Nope. It's not.
Your Honor, I'll withdraw.
Thank you.
Questions withdrawn. Okay, ask another question, Mr. Freilich.
Did you see Taylor Schabusiness on February 23rd of 2022?
February 23rd?
Yes.
No.
How about the day before on February 22nd of 2022?
No.
You saw her on February 21st of 2022, correct? That was a Monday?
I don't know what day that was.
Okay.
That's just a little bit too out of my polymath. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. But you did all hang out together and you drove over to Michael Thyrion's house. Is that your testimony?
Michael Thyrion?
Yes.
I think all I remember. I don't know.
Okay.
So
You're not good with dates, correct?
I'm better with dates, just not recently up for the past 5, 10
Okay.
years. So
That's fine. So
What he said. I'm good with dates, but not the past 5, 10 years. This is insane. Prosecution, what did you see in this man that was gonna help? I mean, we know she's gonna go down, but I'm just saying, what did you see? This is insane. Insane. I'm not gonna torture y'all much longer. This is not gonna get nowhere. I want to show you this other clip because we run out of time, ladies and gentlemen. He knows nothing. He knows nothing. He knows absolutely nothing. And welcome, Chef. I see you in there. Welcome, Chef Young. Kick him off the stand. Okay, Lisa, let's kick him off the stand. All right, thank you for, helping out. It was nice of you to come. All right, let's listen to the music while you wait. We get to this last clip. Yep. Now, this clip, I didn't really get a chance to see. I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't get to see all of it. Excuse me. This clip here, it says, Taylor Schabusiness search serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's custom sex dolls and more love stuff. Wow. See, ladies and gentlemen, when y'all do these crimes, people do crime, they will look up everything that you did on this social media. Everything. He's Chad's father, dude. Remember. Chad's father. I think I lost that part. All right. Deb says there's something in the air in Green Bay. All right. This one here is the last clip. This one here is about, it says 15 minutes long, but we got on a faster speed, 1.25, so it'll be less than 15 minutes. So let's just see what this clip here is about. Ladies and gentlemen, I just glanced at some of it, I didn't catch all of it. Let's get it.
Luberda.
Okay, Mr. Lozada, this is yours.
Good afternoon, Ms. Luberda.
Good afternoon.
Are you currently employed in law enforcement at the present time?
I am not.
And had you previously been a law enforcement officer?
I was, yes.
The decision to no longer be in law enforcement, is that a voluntary decision on your part?
It was.
Okay. And talk to me about your previous law enforcement experience.
Sure. I started as a dispatcher, actually, in 2007. In 2011, I was sworn in as a police officer at the Green Bay Police Department, where I served for 12 years.
And what roles did you have with the Green Bay Police Department?
I started as a patrol officer, was there for 7 years, and then I moved to the detective division for almost 5 years, just shy, and then I left as a...
I'm trying to get through this without laughing. Melly said Google is a snitch. Never forget that. That's right. Google will tell everything about you. You can't hide. You can't hide. Google got you. This is insane. All right, let's get back to it.
as a lieutenant on the afternoon shift patrol.
Were you working as a investigator with the Green Bay Police Department in February of 2022?
Yes.
And as a detective with the Green Bay Police Department in February 23rd of 2022, did you assist in a homicide investigation involving the decedent Shad Thyrion?
Yes.
What was your initial role in that investigation?
My initial role was to go to the place where the suspect in this case was apprehended, and there was a van involved, and basically take ownership of the van and everything that happened with the van.
And the location, was that on Eastman Avenue?
Yes,
And when you arrived, did you ultimately go to that scene on Eastman Avenue?
I did.
And when you arrived, what did you observe?
I observed several other officers there. I observed the van in question, and that was pretty much it. It was pretty much just calm by the time I got there. It was just the van and other patrol officers.
And what did you do to conduct further analysis or investigation relative to that van?
I'd received information that the van was involved prior to me getting there, so I knew that there may be potential evidence in the van and that we needed to secure that evidence. So I returned to the police department to write a search warrant.
Did you ultimately obtain a search warrant for the
I
van?
did, yes.
Do you know who the registered owner of the van was?
Yes.
Who was that?
Scott Thome.
THOM? And once you got the warrant for the van, what did you do?
Once I got the warrant for the van, I returned to the Eastman address and I called the state contracted wrecker or towing company, and then we towed the van to our evidence storage unit on Broadway Street, in the city of Green Bay.
Did either you or another member of the Green Bay Police Department follow the towing company as it brought the van to the storage facility?
Yes, myself and Detective Bray.
When you arrived at the Green Bay storage facility, what did you do?
We put the van into the secured area of the storage, or the evidence unit, and we left.
And what, did you return at some point in time to that van?
Yes, around 3:30 in the afternoon.
Why was there the delay between dropping the van off and then returning later?
Yeah, we knew that there were potential body parts in the van, and the forensic pathologist was currently at the home, and we wanted to wait for him to go into the van.
So then when you returned about 3:30 in the afternoon, did you have contact with the forensic pathologist?
Yes.
And what happened at that point?
At that point, our forensic unit started taking pictures and swabs of the outside of the van, and then we opened up the hatch or the back of the van, and the forensic pathologist took some items out of the van. We didn't discover anything in the back, but then we went to a box behind the driver's seat where he located body parts.
And who was taking the lead in terms of actually removing items from the van and then having contact with the human remains?
The forensic pathologist, Vincent Tranquita.
What was your role on that scene at that time?
I was observing.
And the forensic unit was present and photographing?
Yes, sorry. The forensic unit was processing the van, yes.
Once the forensic unit and the forensic pathologist had an opportunity to complete their search of the van, what did you do?
I talked with the doctor, and he told me that he believed that all
I
of...
object, that's hearsay.
I wasn't asking specifically for what anyone told you. What did you do with the van afterwards?
The question's withdrawn. Go ahead and ask your next question, Mr. Lezak.
The forensic unit finished processing the van, and we left.
In addition to processing the van on the scene, did you subsequently have a further role with respect to this investigation?
I did.
And what was that?
I looked through one of the cell phones that was located at the Eastman Avenue address, I believe that belonged to Taylor Schabusiness.
Now, when you say you looked through the cell phone, did you look through the device itself?
I did not.
What did you review?
Our computer forensics person who was in here just before me downloaded the phone to what's called the UDRF file, and then we're able to view the contents of the phone that way.
And is using that type of, what they call it, a UFED report, is that something that you review regularly in the course of your duties as a detective with the Green Bay Police Department?
Almost every day.
So you're familiar with reviewing those reports and then locating the information that might be of interest in an investigation?
Yes.
And is that what you were asked to do with respect to a phone that was believed to belong to Taylor Schabusiness?
Yes.
What sorts of things were you looking for when you reviewed the extraction of that device using the computer forensic program?
I was looking for search history on the internet. I was looking for photographs. I was looking for phone calls, text messages, messaging application chats, things of that nature.
Did you notice anything of evidentiary value?
There was some search history that I found interesting, like internet searches that I found interesting, yes.
And what was that?
There was searches, things of like...
Your Honor, I would object. Relevancy. I mean, searches on the phone, people search, research, look at all kinds of different things. I would argue that some of these things, I believe, could be inflammatory and more prejudicial than probative.
I overrule the objection. You can go ahead and answer the question.
Things such as flaming pentagram, Jeffrey Dahmer, things like that. KKK, I believe, is one of them.
And Detective, did you note the dates and times of the respective searches that you believe are relevant?
It was around the time of the homicide.
In the days shortly before?
In the days shortly before, yes.
And do you recall when you reviewed that, did you prepare a report regarding your observations?
I did.
If you were able to review your report, might that refresh your recollection as to the specific searches and the dates and times of those searches?
It would.
I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 98. Can you review that document?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to Exhibit 98. I know it's Detective Liberta's details, it's 2 pages, but there are dates going back to December 12th of 2022, and we're talking about an alleged incident on 2/22 or 2/23 of 2022. So I've got an issue with that. I'm also going to reserve a motion outside the presence of the jury.
Okay, well, I think all she's been asked is to review the report, so I don't know yet what she's going to be testifying to. So I'll reserve ruling on your objection, Mr. Freilich, but I'll turn back to the state. Go ahead, Mr. Jose.
Your Honor, I forgot, I want to say that another objection would be on grounds of relevancy. So,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm going to reserve those objections.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
And Ms. Luberta, does reviewing that report refresh your recollection as to the nature of some of the searches that you observed on?
I noticed today and other days, this judge is definitely not with defense at all. Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. The judge supposed to be for both. I'm assuming, correct?
On the extraction from Mr. Business's phone.
Yes.
And specifically as it relates to February 12th of 2022 and February 13th of 2022, did you note anything, was there anything noteworthy with respect to searches?
Objection relevancy to that question?
Overruled. Go ahead and answer if you can.
Yes, she searched Jeffrey Dahmer. And then she searched cadaver definition, Jeff Boyardee, blow-up doll customized face.
In particular, Jeffrey Dahmer, did you note that there were several searches that were related to Dahmer?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled. Go ahead and answer.
Can you repeat your question?
Were there several searches related to Jeffrey Dahmer and other items on the device that were consistent with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yes.
What other portions of the extraction also showed an interest in Jeffrey Dahmer?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled.
There was I wrote another search warrant for her Gmail account. It's a Google account. A bigger search that you can do to get more information. It's stored on the cloud. And in that extraction of that information, there were more references to Jeff.
My name is Ciro di Napoli. I am the
Just for Jeffrey Dahmer, pictures, and things of that nature.
On the device itself, did you also locate photographs of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled.
Yes.
Do you know what a device screenshot is?
Yeah. Yes.
What does that term generally mean?
A screenshot is where you take a shot of the screen, basically a copy of the screen.
Okay. And do you know if there were screenshots that were prepared in this case by analyst Danelski for purpose of your analysis?
Yes,
And did you review those screenshots as well?
I did.
And in reviewing those screenshots, were there also several mentions of Dahmer and Dahmer-related interest?
Yes.
Objection relevance.
Overruled.
Yes, there were.
Was this just, a one-off, 1 or 2 photos, or were there several photographs?
Same objection relevancy.
Overruled.
There were several.
Now, you mentioned that you subsequently did a search for information, a search warrant for information from Google. Can you talk about the process you utilized to do that?
Yes, so from the device itself, we could find out how many Gmail accounts that she had, and there was a total of 5. So from those 5 Gmail accounts, we can write a warrant to Google for more information that's not technically stored on the phone, but in the cloud.
And did you draft such a warrant?
Yes, I did.
And ultimately, did you obtain a warrant from the court for that search?
Yes, I did.
Did Google subsequently respond to your warrant and provide information from those Gmail accounts?
Yes.
And what happened then when you received the information from Google?
I was able, so Google provides it in a way that's hard to figure out. So Analyst Danelski is able to put it into the same computer program to allow us to look at that information.
And once you then reviewed the information in the program, do you know the name of the program?
It's the same one that you did.
That's all right, the UFED reader?
Celebrate, yes.
Okay. When you reviewed the information in Celebrite, were you able to find similar information regarding an interest in Jeffrey Dahmer on the Google search?
Objection relevancy.
Overruled.
Yes.
Do you know, does Celebrite give you the opportunity to parse out certain relevant things and generate a report that only includes certain items that are of interest to the person creating the report?
Yes.
Are you familiar with those reports from Celebrite?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was all the clips that I wanted to show today. That was it. Alright, so stay tuned for day 3. That's tomorrow. And it was really interesting after court today because you know, he wanted to do something like a mistrial defense. I didn't quite understand why he wanted to do a mistrial, so I'm not gonna say anything, you know, and say it wrong. But he was like trying to talk to the judge. He wanted a couple things, but the judge was like, nope, 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 nope. But the main thing was the defense didn't like the fact that it was comparing her to Jeffrey Dahmer's, which I don't know. I think I understand why prosecution might be going there, but in a way it is like you're comparing because, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer did several people and he ate them. But I'll say one thing they have in common. They both sick. They both sick. Now, if you want to compare to Jeffrey Dahmer's, well, I guess you're saying that she's insane, right, prosecution? Because she's insane. You know. All right, so we see maybe day 3. I'll come here with a different idea and say, no, I don't think so. She's faking. I really don't think she is. And when she be smiling and doing those little expressions, it's like if people's talking to her and she's laughing. They whispering to her. I don't know. That's what it seemed like to me. Yep. They're all 2 different type of psychos. But you're both crazy. 2 different types. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, you have yourselves a blessed night and a safe night. And thank you for being here. Sorry for starting late. And stay tuned for some more tomorrow. And I missed something. Oh, Melanie said I know. Alright. Where am I at? Alright. Have a blessed one and a safe one. Date smart, not thirsty.